Govind Neglur to give a kind of uh, external person giving a session for the Java. And as you know, Govind sir is well versed with Java programming. So he will be taking one topic among the things that need to be discussed. Probably in the previous class, I have already talked about how to create RMI application. Okay. Now, sir will be telling about how do you go ahead in the Eclipse platform. Okay. So over to you, sir. Govind sir.
Thank you, Indra madam.
Uh,
Good of
I hope you are recording, Govind sir.
Yeah, madam. I have started
Okay.
the
Thank you.
recording.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. So I will take
Please
over
go
the
ahead.
session, madam.
Yes.
Yeah. Good evening to all the students. So as informed by Indra madam, I am here to take a session on. In fact, it's a hands-on session. So I'll be actually showing you how to do it in the tool. So here I'll be discussing about steps to configure and as well as run RMI applications using the Eclipse IDE. So I'll be considering Eclipse as an IDE. I'll not be using Notepad. Sorry, I'll not be using NetBeans. So I'll be using Eclipse to configure and run RMI applications, right? So you all know RMI applications, why it is used, right? And what does RMI stands for? So RMI basically stands for your remote method invocation, wherein it's actually a very competitor to something called as RPC. So in C, you come across remote procedure calls, which you frequently, which we usually talk in terms of your Unix system programming or your operating system, right? So it's a competitor. You can think of it as it was developed in Java to act as a competitor to your RPC, right? So it was a very famous framework, or RMI in fact was very famous when during 1990s to say 1998 or 2000. So these days it has actually been overtaken by something called as WebSockets, as well as yeah, it is in fact overtaken by WebSocket as well as REST APIs. So if anyone of you are aware of web programming, then you know this, right? So these days many people are using REST as well as JavaScript as well as WebSockets for doing the actual communication. So prior to that, RMI was the tool that was being used, or RMI was a feature that was being used heavily to perform applications, remote method invocations across Java platforms, right? So it is very restricted to the Java environment only. Without Java environment, this in fact doesn't work in a proper way. Okay. So I think people still are joining. Just 1 second. I'll allow everyone. Okay. Fine. So I'll begin first. I will show you the steps. I will read out the steps. So you all know that RMI application involve two things. One is the server part. The other one is the client part. I will call this as a server code as well as the client side code. Right. So after, I'll assume that we have this already available. So after writing the entire RMI application, so which involves the interface code, you know this already. I think it has been already discussed. You have the server side code, you also have the client side code, right? So after having this, we need to do some configurations in the Eclipse. So what I will do now is I will actually demonstrate that. So I will stop the presentation. I will enable the entire video to be presented here, right? So I will simply share the entire screen so that you all can see what I am actually doing, right? So currently I am hope this is visible. I think I will pin it over here. 1 second. Yeah. Right. So now what I will do is I will open the Eclipse. So you can see here I am now in my desktop. So I'm going to open the Eclipse now. Just 1 second. One more second. Yeah. So once I open, so this is my Eclipse. In fact, yesterday I installed for this session purpose. Right. So I had downloaded this from the internet. This is a recent version of the Eclipse IDE available in the available to be downloaded. So it took around maybe around 20 minutes time to install everything. Okay. So this is how it looks like. So this is my Eclipse application. Okay. So have you worked with Eclipse, or you have simply worked with the command line? Anyone can answer?
Yes, sir. We are good.
Okay. So you have worked with Eclipse. Is anyone aware of NetBeans? NetBeans? Have you worked with NetBeans? Anyone?
Most of them are working with Eclipse only, sir.
Probably they have used Eclipse, sir.
Okay, madam. Okay, okay, no problem. So then this discussion becomes more relevant. That's why I was asking. Anyway, that's good. If you are comfortable with Eclipse, then I will not spend time in how the windows and views of perspectives of Eclipse. So currently I am in the Java perspective. I could switch over to Enterprise Edition perspective for writing Enterprise Edition applications. I will not do that. Okay. So I will be there in the Java perspective only. So this is my Java perspective, right? So here in the package explorer, I have imported this RMI Java application which contains the RMI code, right? So I'm going to show you this application which is simple calculator. Maybe even similar such program might have been shown by madam. Okay, so I'll close all the programs. So you all know that we require around four files to write that. First I will show you the adder.java. I am not going to explain the syntactical part of this. Okay, so this is the adder program, sorry, adder part, which just has the interface, provides a skeleton. Okay, so this is adder.java. So this program basically performs addition of two numbers. So server will wait for the program to wait for the client to get connected. So client provides two numbers, say a plus b, a and b, and your server will return the result, added result back to the client, or it will display it onto the screen itself, right? So in the adder remote.java, the code which implements this adder interface provides the implementation of the method called add. So here only the skeleton is there, here you have the implementation, right? So now similarly I can write the server part. So server part has this it simply instantiates that class, adder remote class, and creates a entry in the registry. Okay, so you have a naming dot rebind. Okay, so there are two methods, one is bind and rebind. So rebind can be used to check the first of all bind will actually insert an entry into the RMI registry, and rebind, if the entry is already there, it will simply go ahead with that. So bind will fail if you try to again bind the already existing entry, but rebind will not fail that API. So it is better to use rebind, because if you use bind, you can only run this once, you cannot run it many times, because once the entry is there in that particular instance of that RMI registry, bind will further invocations of bind will fail. So with that purpose, rebind has been used here, right? So similar to that, we have my client, wherein you simply look up that particular registry. Okay, so you look up the registry of this. So this SDMCT is just a name, or just an object name that has been given for better searching in the registry. And also I have used say a port number of 5000. So see to it that this port number is not used in that in your system, right? So it should not be, this port number should not point to already available or allotted port numbers. So 5000 is most of the time will be not used. So this is how it is. So you can see here this sends addition of two numbers a and b, and your server performs the addition by implementing this method and returns the result. Okay, so it just returns the result back to the client. So client will simply print the added result back in its console. Okay, so this is the program. Quickly I will tell you how to configure your Eclipse to run this application. Of course you can do it via command prompt, but it requires lot of remembering lot of options for before compilation as well as running. So Eclipse will help you to do that, but provided you know how to do it, right? So first, after writing the entire RM application, you need to go to run and click on external tools, and then external tools configuration. So what do I mean by that is, so when I go to run here, so when I go to the option run here, you have something called as external tools. So you might be asking like, what is the purpose of this external tools? So these external tools can be used to run the external applications, like your RMI registry is actually an external application, but it is very much dependent in the sense RMI applications cannot run without the use of registry, RMI registry, right? So to run such external applications, we use this external tools. So ideally you should go to external tools configuration, Okay, so it will open a window and you need to double click on this program, create a new configuration and do all those things. So here what I have done is there are two instances I have created. One is RMI registry and other one is new RMI registry, right? So what you could do is you can simply double click on this on the program. It will create a new configuration and keep on copy pasting these entries. Okay, so this is what has been told over here. Under the program, click on new configuration. Okay, so specify any user defined name. So here what user defined name I have specified under new RMI registry. So I have just specified the name as new RMI registry. So see to it that the names are properly given. Just by looking into the name you will understand for what external tool it refers to, right? So it's a RMI registry. Of course there is a spelling mistake over here, STRY it should have been, right? So but it is okay, you will get to know what is the use of it, right? So the next thing is after specifying the name, you need to go to under the main tab and click on browse file system. So what you are supposed to actually do is, this is the main tab, there is something called as location. So if you see here under new configurations, there is no location that has been specified, right? But here if you observe, there is a location that I have specified. So what I am actually trying to do is, you are trying to tell the Eclipse from which say program, from which program this configuration should run. So RMI registry is actually a executable file under the bin folder of your JRE. Okay, so RMI registry is similar to your Java C,
Excuse me.
Java W and Java. Yes, any questions? Anyone has any questions?
Yes, sir. Like students are waiting out, sir. So they
Okay.
were asking something.
Okay. Uh,
Thank you, sir.
okay. So I think I simply carried away with the presentation. So I think now all are admitted. I guess, yeah, I think now I got few messages. Only two are waiting.
Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
then fine. So I was actually taking that screen. I was not able to see. Even I did not get the notification, so I did not give attention to that. Okay, sorry for that. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. So in a new configuration, if you open, you will see the location here. So you need to actually click on browse file system to locate that RMI registry. Okay, so currently as I told you that I had installed this Eclipse yesterday only. I did not install the JRE properly, means external JRE installation I did not do it. So whatever the JRE that I have here, it is the environment of the Eclipse which provides that JRE, right? So if you see this configuration path here, you can see it's a very big path. Okay, so you can see it's like users, app data, local temp. So it's a very big path. So like this you will not have that, right? So what you should see here is, it starts with JRE bin RMI registry.exe, right? So if at all you have installed JRE explicitly on your machine, what you are supposed to do is, you need to go to browse file system, go to your D drive or C drive where you have installed that Java, go to program files. Here you will find a directory called Java. Under Java you will find two folders. Now as I told you, I have not installed Java, so I will not be able to show you this, right? So so you need to go to Java. If you have downloaded 32-bit version, you will go to x86. If you have downloaded 64-bit version, you will go to program files, right? So go to Java. Under this you will get two directories. One is Java JDK, other one is JRE. So you need to go to JRE. In that you need to go to bin. There you will find this RMI registry. Okay, so this JRE bin RMI registry, you will find it here. So click on that RMI registry.exe, then that's it. So this entire path will be stored there. Okay, so this big path you are able to see it because I have not installed the actual JDK as well as JRE. So your Eclipse has provided a open JDK during installation, so it is pointing to here. So it's a, remember, it's a minimal installation, right? So you can see it's a minimal Win32 64-bit installation that is provided by default by your Eclipse. Okay, since I am not doing much of a work with Java, so I just went ahead with this. I did not go for a full JDK installation of from your Oracle website. Okay, so like this you need to find the path. Then what you're supposed to do, so you can see here you need to go to bin folder and then select the RMI registry.exe and click on open button. So once you do that, it will show you that entire path over here. Okay, so the next thing you are supposed to do is, you need to also specify the working directory, right? So the working directory is like your Eclipse uses some of the built-in paths like this, like dollar in a pair of flower brackets. You need to write workspace underscore loc colon rmi /bin. So what is the meaning of this is, this rmi is the name of my Java application. Okay, so if you observe here, I think I will allow one more person. Yeah, so if you see over here, this RMI is my Java application, right? So it should be like this working directory. The syntax of this should look like this: dollar workspace underscore loc. So it will replace that with the actual workspace. So currently I am pointing this workspace of Eclipse to your E drive, so that it will replace it with this. So you can think of this as a path, sorry, you can think of this as a built-in variable of your Eclipse. So Eclipse uses so many built-in variables to automatically run and build your projects, right? So that you will encounter when you switch over to the Java Enterprise Edition. So there you will encounter more of such variables, right? So this will be replaced with the location of your workspace. Type a colon followed by /rmi /bin. So basically what you have done is, basically you have given the full path name of your working directory, because when you run it, you know that it is going to select the class files from your bin directory, right? So two directories will be created, one is with src, other one with the bin. So bin is not visible here in the package explorer, but it will get created, right? So you are just pointing it over here. So that is the reason you are supposed to write it, right? So this is that step. So so after that you are clicking on working directory and simply pasting the this text onto that working directory. So this should this name of your RMI project, I have replaced it with RMI, right? Next I am going to go inside the arguments text area. So if you observe this window, there is some tab or a text area called arguments. Here I am specifying 5000. So you might be asking, what is this 5000? This 5000 is simply a port number in which my RMI application, both server and client, are connecting to that particular port. So it should be same. So even your RMI registry service should be running in the 5000 port number only, right? So that's why I am specifying this as the argument, right? So this is the configuration of your RMI registry. Then you need to click on run, right? So remember this. Now in fact, if you really want to know what is the command line that to actually run this RMI registry, this command line looks like this, right? So this is my registry, RMI registry, and simply give a space and follow it with 5000. So if at all you are working with command line, so you would go to that directory, bin directory. Inside that you will find RMI registry. Type that RMI registry.exe space 5000. Optionally you can use ampersand symbol to run it in the background. Of course that works only in your Linux, not in the Windows, right? So you need to run this command if at all you are using with the command prompt, right? So this is how the configuration is there. So after this you need to click on run. So you will see that there is one button called run. So you just need to click on run. So what happens if you do that? So you can see here in the console, you will see new registry, new RMI registry always is run. So this red button means that this particular application has been started in 4:21:36 PM. So it will show you the timestamp and what is the name of the file that got running. So RMI registry is now running at the 5000 port number. So it will accept any request and create the instance in its registry, write the instance in the registry with the 5000 port number, right? So this is how you create the registry. Then after you do that, then there are small steps to configure at the server side as well as in the client side. So again you need to go to the server side Java program, click on run as and click on run configuration, right? So I have already done that, so I will show it to you. So what I will do now is I'll right click on this myserver.java, go to run as, run configurations, right? So once I do that, it will open a window wherein the instance of that program I have already created. Just one second, I'll allow someone who is waiting. Yeah, it is allowed. Okay. So here what you will notice is the name of the class file is your simple calculator.myserver, right? So here what is important is this arguments. In the arguments tab under the run configuration, you need to specify this one. So you might be asking from where I have picked this one. Please recollect, this is almost the same as, but there is small change in that syntax, but this is almost the same as the one that you specified as the working directory in your RMI registry as external tools, right? So you just need to paste this entire VM arguments in the argument section of VM arguments. So under the VM arguments, which is under arguments tab, you just need to paste it. So in fact, when you want to run the RM application, you need to specify various attributes. So this is how you specify the attributes during the runtime. So you type the command java space -D, follow it up with the attribute. So this is like a name value pair. So this is the name of that property or attribute, and this is the value of that. Similarly, you will write security policies also. Sometimes you will also write the name of the IP address of the server where your client should contact. So all these things are written with -D option, right? So you need to paste this line, right? So it is called as a code base. So let this RMI bin itself act as a code base of your RMI application. So without this, your RMI application will not work. The same thing has to be done for client side also. Hope you are getting what I am talking here, right? So right click under the Java server side file, go to run as, run configuration, specify the user defined name. So I have specified as RMI server. Under the arguments tab, under VM arguments, you need to paste this code -D Java. Remember, after -D there is no space. Okay, so if you leave a space, it's going to throw you an error. So that is the weird syntax that it has. Okay, but you need to always remember this -D followed by the property name value pair, right? So workspace underscore LOC, this is the built-in variable which gets replaced with the actual workspace of your Eclipse. Okay, so always this is a syntax dollar, a pair of flower brackets, workspace underscore LOC, name of your RMI project, which is in my case it is RMI /bin. So this bin directory of my workspace of this program acts as a security code base. Okay, and click on run. So I'm going to do that now. So I have now specified these things. I'll also ensure I have ensured that this is my server. So my server is the program which acts as a server. So I'll click on run. So what I'll do now is, so if I open you the show command line, so what you will notice is after this java.w.exe, it has appended -D java.security.codebase. You can see here it has also appended other options like file encoding, class path, and all those things, which are appended automatically by the Eclipse. So if you are not using Eclipse, you need to write these things manually in your command prompt. So if you are using Eclipse, if you still want to use command prompt, simply copy and close and then paste it in the command prompt. It still works. Okay, so I am not going to run it now. Now the same configuration are true for client program also. So similarly, I will right click on the myclient.java program, go to run as, run configurations. So you will notice the same thing which has been pasted here. So this is my it should be my client. I think one second, it is there or not. I am just going to check. My client should be there. Yeah, so it is here. So it is this one. So my client, it is actually pointing to the wrong file. So main class is my client. So if you go to the arguments here, one second. So if you go to arguments here, the same arguments have been specified here. So even in the both instances, you need to specify the same arguments, right? So the procedure for configuring the server as well as client run as configuration remains the same, right? So what you need to do is right click on the server side, go to run as configuration, under the name text field, under the arguments VM arguments field, you need to paste this and click on run. And also notice the steps to configure the client side application will remain the same, because the steps to configure same as the steps to configure server side application. So three things are important here. One is you need to configure your RMI registry as external tools, configure RMI registry application as external tools, then add this line to your run as configuration for server, as well as do the same thing for client. So once you are done with that, you are ready to run the RMI application. Without this step, running it is not useful. Even if you run it, it is not going to work. It is simply going to throw an error. So currently, what is my status here in the Eclipse? My RMI registry service is on. Remember, always start the RMI registry, otherwise client and server are not going to run, because RMI registry, you can think of it as an interface between your server and client side program. So if this is not running, then no server and client will be able to connect themselves, right? So always run the RMI registry service program. So it is still on. You can see here this red color is enabled, it means it is still on. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the server. So how will I do it? I'll go to my server, right click on run as Java application. So it will actually search for which configuration I should select, because there are two main functions that there are two main methods in this project. One is with myserver.java, which also contains main. One is myclient.java, which also contains main. So your Eclipse will get confused as to which class file to pick up during the run. So since I want to run it as a server, so I'll click on Java application. So I should select the class file as myserver.java. So because this main of this server is under the class name called myserver, right? So I'll click on myserver and click on OK. So what you will now notice is it has now switched from RMI registry to myserver. So currently myserver is a Java application which is currently running. So how do you know how many programs or how many services are running in the console? Any guess? Can anyone tell me which option should I use in Eclipse to see that? Now I know there are two services which are running, or two applications which are running in the console. One is your myserver, the other one is RMI registry. Suppose I want to know where is the RMI registry that is situated, which is running here. How do I know that? Can anyone give me the answer for this? Hope you got the question. Did you understand the question? The question is,
Yes, sir.
yeah, so in the console, which option should I choose so that I will be able to see all the current active applications which are running under this console, because at any one point of time it only shows one application. Any answer from you?
So that
There
white
is
icon.
one blue color, sir.
Okay,
Blue
so
color
you mean to
box.
say this one?
No, that one. No,
Yes, sir.
blue color.
This one?
That one. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That shows how many consoles are running.
Correct. So it is.
Programs are running.
So you are comfortable with Eclipse. So I'm confirm. I can assure you that. So there is one option called console, display selected console. Besides that, there is one arrow mark, right? So simply if you click on this arrow mark, it will show you how many instances are currently active. And if a instance is terminated, it will show it as a terminated. So you can see here, new RMI registry is an external tool, so it will show it as a program. But myserver is the application, so in the square bracket it will specify it as a Java application. Okay, so also it will show you the path from where it has taken up that particular the executable from which it is being executed. So both it will show, and also it will show you the timestamp, right? So currently in my system there are two services or two applications which are running. One is an external application in Eclipse and other one is a Java application, right? So remember here, my server has been instantiated and it is running successfully, and it has not shown me any error, any exception. It means it is correct. Okay, it has actually successfully written an entry into the RMI registry. So since my code doesn't handle any messages once it successfully writes, so it is in a stuck state. Stuck state means it's in a blocked state. So it will only act as a server now. It will only take the inputs from the client, adds the result. If the client provides two arguments, it simply performs addition and sends back the result. Okay, so now what I will demonstrate is, I will simply right click on this my client program. One second, someone is logged in, I suppose. I will have to admit that. Yes. So right, so here this is my client program. So I am going to right click on this now, go to run as Java application. So again it will ask me, so I think it opened. Yeah, so you can see here it did not ask this time because maybe that configuration that was there, it was perfect, run configuration was perfect. So it simply ran the program. So you can now see here it says terminated, means this program exited, and the name of the instance was my client of 1. And if you now see here, it started from 4:32 PM 24 seconds and ended on 26 seconds. So it simply took 2 seconds to execute. And what it displayed? It displayed the result as 90. So you can see here, if I open this console now, there are still two more programs which are still running. One is the server, one is the registry, right? And third one is terminated. So terminated ones are shown with angular brackets, and the state of that process is shown as terminated. So you can see here this red color is closed. So you can actually remove this from this console. So once I remove that, you can only see that only the active processes are shown. So now what I will do is I will simply change these numbers to show you that these are the actual values that are being printed. So I will now change it to say 60 and say 100. So it should now show the result as 160. So I will now run it as Java application. So you will notice here it has displayed as 160. Okay. So you can see over here, again it took almost 1 second to display the result, and then it got terminated, right? So now I'll again clear this. So next time what I will do now is I will stop the server. I will simply stop the server. So you can see here, this is my server. I will stop the server. I will in fact kill the server. You can see here terminated. So it actually ran from 429 to 434, right? So it was actually terminated. Now if I try to run the client, just see what happens. Any guess what should happen now? I have now terminated the server. I want to now run the client. Is it possible to run the client successfully without exceptions?
No, maybe exception will occur.
Right? So your guess is that it should throw an exception. So let us see what happens in this case. Okay, so I'm going to run it now. Run as Java application. So it is so you can see here it is now showing an exception called RMI connect exception. So it says connection refused to the host, and the name of the actual exception is connection refused. Okay, so this is, say, RMI connection exception is a subclass of your java.net.connect exception. Okay, so the actual reason is this. So it simply prints you the stack trace. The actual reason was it tries to connect to the server. It did not succeed. So the reason was the connection was refused. So why the connection was refused? The reason is the server itself is not running. So that is the meaning of this, right? So I had handled this with the catch clause, so the program did not terminate abnormally. Okay, so once you handle that exception, it is considered as a normal termination. If this exception was not handled, it would have shown with the red color and then terminated. That would have been a bad programming effort. Okay, so some exception was handled, so it is running, right? So now what I will do is again enable the server. This time I will close the registry. I will stop the registry service from running. So let us see what exception it shows. So I am supposed to run the server. I have now run the server. Okay, so this time I am going to run the client again. Okay, I am going to run the client again. Run as Java application. I forgot to close the registry. So this will work now. So I will now close the registry. I will bring up the registry part. So this is the registry. I will now close this registry. Okay, I am just going bit fast because of time constraint. Okay, so you need to somehow adjust to my pace. So it is not terminated. Now if I try to run the client program, let us see what happens. Run as Java application. So you can see it still shows you the same error. Okay, so this is you can say it is bit kind of confusing, because even if registry is not there, it shows some error, the same error. Even if the registry service is not there, even if the server is not there, it shows the same error. Okay, so you should somehow observe the errors. Okay, sometimes you might get the error like it is expecting integers, but you pass some strings and all. So in that case you will get an error called, say, unmarshal exception and all those things, right? So those things you can study it offline. Okay, so this is the actual setup. I also have one more program to be shown. So I'll close all the programs here. I'll close all. We also have a simple program. In fact, this was taken from the internet only. So it simply gives you a message from the client, and that will be taken by the server, right? So server simply gives a message called it simply says that message. Okay, whatever the message that is there from the client, it simply receives that. So you can see here it has a get message. So here in the previous example there were two files like adder.java and adder remote.java. In this example both have been combined and implemented as a single thing. So you can see here this hello server implementation implements hello interface as well as extends this unicast remote object, also implements serializable, right? Serializable, if you don't implement, then you will start getting a warning with a yellow balloon or yellow bulb icon. You will start seeing the warning. Okay, so whenever you are working with networks and trying to send some object state onto the network, then you must implement the serializable interface, otherwise you will start getting the warning. So you can see here, if I now save it, you will see, start noticing that it will throw you an error. I think I should also remove this one. Yeah, so you will notice straight away you will see that there is a warning, a bulb, red yellow color bulb icon with a warning symbol. What it says is the serializable class does not declare a static final serial version UID, right? So you just need to click on this bulb icon, click on add serial version, so it will automatically provide you that with. Okay, so this is one more thing you should remember. So this performs implements this hello server implementation interface, also provides the implementation for the unimplemented method called get message, right? So quickly I will show you the hello client program. I will show you the hello client program. So again this is the same. I am using naming.lookup. This time I am using a default port number. I am not using any port number. The default RMI register I am going to use that, right? So I am going to call this instance as ref, which means reference. Okay, so simply print the message. Okay, otherwise you will simply print the exception. Okay, so there are something which have been shown with the red color, so I'm not worried about that. Okay, next is your hello interface. So it just is an interface which provides an unimplemented method called get message, which should throw remote exception. That is the rule. If it doesn't make, if you don't make this message get message throw remote exception, then it will not be a part of your RMI interface. Okay, so I'll quickly show you how to run this. For this I have external, I'll again go to external tools. This time I have this new registry, new RMI registry. Sorry, I have this RMI registry. So why I do have it, I'll just show it to you. See the difference between RMI registry and new RMI registry. So new RMI registry has this argument as 5000, but this RMI registry doesn't have this argument as 5000 because my program currently doesn't use 5000 port number. So I don't specify this argument over here. So I click on run. So you will notice that this RMI registry service is now running. Okay, so it is now running. One second, what has happened? Okay, so it is now running. Next is I will run the server. I will run the server part. Right click on this, click on Java application. So it says creating server object. So this program is more elaborate in the sense it will show you the in between steps also. So I have put some SOP statements under particular instances at critical points, so that you will also understand when what events are happening properly. Okay, so this is about your server. Next is your client. So I'm going to run the client also now. Right click, save as, run as Java application. So you can see here this server is designed to send a message back to the client. So it was designed to send a message from RMI server to the client. So client simply received that message using get message method of that server part, simply printed that message. Okay, so it printed the message over here. So now what I will do is I will change this message from RMI server to hello world. Okay, so I'll again run it now. I'll run this server, run as Java application, right? So server is again ready, again deployed. Again I will have to run the client. Right click, run as. So you'll notice that this time it is print hello world, right? So this is how it is. So I have demonstrated you two things. One is the RMI registry with the port number. This URL is usage of RMI registry without port number. So if you don't use any port number, it will assign a default port number. So I don't actually recollect with what is the default port number for this service. Of course, you can find it in your PS commands or go to task manager and you can find it out, right? So by default, it will have some port number assigned whenever it launches an application. So if you don't want to use that port number, then don't specify colon after localhost. So if you specify like this 5000, then you are actually using a user defined port name, which was demonstrated in this application, right? In the second application of myserver.java. So here you will notice that it says like RMI localhost colon 5000 SDMCSC. So this SDMCSC is just a unique name given to this particular binding, okay? And the same binding should be searched using lookup function or lookup method at the client side, okay? Now you might be asking one question like what if I want to emulate or simulate the use of RMI from one machine to other machine? Now what I have demonstrated you here is both server and client have been running in the same machine. What steps are required, or what you think, what is your opinion, that what if I want to run the server in this machine and I want to run this client in some other machine which is connected to the internet? So can anyone tell me, at least give a guess as to what all modifications are required to achieve this? I am waiting for the answers. Hope you understood my question. I have now demonstrated the use of RMI in the same machine. What are the steps that are required, or what all the steps you feel that are required to achieve RMI across the different machines? Any guess?
Sir, instead of localhost, we use the IP address of other machine.
Correct. So
One thing will be
yes, go ahead. Okay, so what she said was in fact one of the step, instead of localhost you need to specify the IP address, okay? This is to be changed in the server side, but your client side also, if you are used localhost, you need to change the, instead of this localhost you need to change it to the IP address of your server. So there are two machines, you assume that one acting as a server and one acting as a client. So this URL should point to the IP address of the server, not to the client, okay? So in both situations it should point to the server IP address, okay? So if the server IP address is say 192.168.2.2, so in both situations it is better to specify 2.2, okay? And also run your RMI registry in the server only, don't run it in the client part, okay? That is also one more thing. And one more aspect is you need to also write something called as server policies or security policies. So you can see one file over which I have written over here, server.policy. So you need to write a policy like this, and during compilation you need to again, during running you need to type -d java.codebase.permissions equal to this permission, okay? So you will find those things in the internet. And one more aspect that you need to remember is you need to disable the firewalls if you have, right? So I have this antivirus software over here which I have purchased. So for this to work I need to disable my firewall. So you can see here I have actually disabled my firewall. So if I enable the firewall, then 99% of the time your firewall will block that RMI registry service from opening, okay? And even the incoming request from the client to the server will be blocked, okay? So see to it that this firewall is blocked or it is switched off before you actually start trying with the RMI with different machines, okay? So please try it. In fact I did try it today, but due to some maybe some configuration problems at my end, I could not do it. So in fact I thought of when madam requested me to give this session, I thought of putting or showing this RMI between my machine and the Raspberry Pi. So I have Raspberry Pi installed available with me, so I thought of doing it, but somehow it did not work. Even though I have closed the firewall, it still did not work, okay? So if you are interested, you can take up that task. You need not have to have Raspberry Pi, you just need to have any one machine which is able to run Java application. So JRE should be installed in that. So compiled class file, you just put it there and run it, okay? So this you can try it as an interesting exercise from your end. So if you can do it, you will learn a lot many internal aspects of your RMI, how actually RMI works, how it interacts with the network, what protocol does it use, what security policies to be set. All those options you will learn if you try RMI with different machines. Okay, so please try it as an additional work. Say offline you can try it as as a additional work, as I say, to gain a more knowledge or in-depth understanding of your RMI. Okay, so this is what I wanted to tell in today's session. So if you have any doubts or queries, you can please ask. Any doubts?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Mohammed
Sir,
Usman,
could
go
you
ahead.
please share the PDF,
Yeah.
the PDF which you used as a guide for setup, sir?
Yes,
So that
I
we'll
will.
be
I
in a
will
better position
surely.
to set up
Yeah,
on our machines.
yeah. I will do that. I will share it with Indra madam. Okay. So madam will share it to
Okay,
you
sir.
later. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Any other doubts? No doubts? Okay, so that's it from my end. So please do try that out, and let me know if you are able to do RMI across different machines. I know it is bit trickier. It depends on your operating system version, which OS you are using, and although which network you are connected in. So please try it out, as it's a very interesting activity. Okay, and let me know if you are able to work with, if you actually succeed with that. Okay. So I think I will this is what that's it from my end. So I think if Indra madam wants to add something to it.
Um, Thank you, Govind sir.
Yes,
Probably the programming perspective I had already discussed in yesterday's class.
Yes, madam.
Now you have shown the running of the program, and it's quite difficult to follow at once. I
Yes,
think
madam. Yes,
you
madam.
need
Yes,
to
madam.
practice it. You need to practice it,
That is
and
true.
you
That is
just
true.
try out. Govind sir will be sharing the things with me. I'll be putting up in my Google Classroom, including the video. Okay. So if you have any kind of doubts, you can ask or you can post it. Definitely, we both will be able to answer to your questions.
Yes, madam. Sure.
Yeah.
So shall we close the session, madam?
Shall we close, or do you have any questions? Shall we close?
It seems they don't have any
Sir.
questions, madam.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sir, suppose like I'm assuming in
Yeah.
the same package, if you have like different programs, like now you have executed like under one project,
Okay.
there is a simple calculator program, right?
Yes.
So if I have the display string, that program also in the same package,
Okay.
and can I use the same RMI registry to run both the things?
Yes, you can,
it
but see to
possible?
it that this string should be different. Like this instance that I was talking about should be different.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Port number.
Yeah,
I got that.
port number also, and this instance I am talking about. This here I am calling this as a reference, right? In the other program I called it as what
5000.
SDM CSC, right? That should be
Yeah.
different.
Sorry.
Okay, you can use it.
Fine. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank
Yeah,
you for the
I think Varshini asked a good question. Any such good questions? Anyone having? Please ask.
Okay, probably no more questions, sir.
Yes, madam.
So we will be ending the session. Guys, please note the assignment questions for Advanced Java has been uploaded in the Google Classroom. Please check it out. Okay. And make sure that you are just going through that and practicing those things. Okay. Thank you, Govind sir, again.
Yes, madam. Thank you. So
Yes,
I will
we
just
will
log
end.
off now. Okay.
Yeah, thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, madam. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you,
Thank
sir.
you, ma'am, for the
Yeah,
session.
thank you all. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.